Yes, people, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to AFTV. It's coming towards the end of April, so it's our time to decide our April Player of the Month. Obviously, 3 losses this month, 2 wins. James, let's just begin. Let's just begin with, what is your feelings on this month as an Arsenal fan? How is it?
For a lot of this month, I didn't think we'd be doing this video. Well, this will be a car crash.
Yeah.
But they've given us something to sing about, shout about. They've given us some encouragement again. Tottenham have played their part, losing at home to Brighton, drawing at Brentford. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, do you remember coming out of the international break and going into that period of games before Palace and Brighton?
Yeah.
And a lot of people felt that Arsenal had all but secured top 4 when they beat Villa, not because it was mathematically done, but because Arsenal had built a cushion that Tottenham were never going to have the consistency to catch.
Yeah, the game in hands.
The game in hands, the 3 points clear, all that. Yeah. Ultimately, we did lose 3 games, but the cushion actually did what it was meant to do, which is keep us within touching distance, keep it in our hand, because you couldn't rely on Tottenham to win the games they should either, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So it served its purpose, but we don't have that cushion anymore. We go into these 5 games, and both have fixtures that are going to be tricky. And then they're going to dread a little bit going into this run-in.
Yeah. But
thinking that, the season was just going to peter out and we weren't going to make a fight of it after those 3 defeats, it's good to see that some players have stepped up and given us a conversation to have on the sofa today. So, ultimately ending the month encouraged.
Yeah, it's nice to have some different names. I think we're going to discuss.
For sure.
In the months before, we've obviously there's kind of been the same sort of names, but we're scoring more, and there's going to be some different included players this month, which we're going to get into. And guys, I just want to let you know as well, to give us your votes, head over to the AFTV VIP app. Make sure you do that. That's where we're going to get the decision of who your Player of the Month is. So make sure you head over to that. The link will be in the description and cast us your votes. But James, listen. We spoke before rolling. We had certified 3 names, 3 names definitely that we're going to talk about, and the 4th one we're going to kind of obviously debate who it should be, and you guys in the comments as well let us know who the 4th player should have been, because we're going to have our own arguments for that player. Let's start with you start with, out of the 3 players, you start with the first player that you want to mention.
I'm going to come flying in with Eddie Nketiah.
Yep.
The reason is because when we were looking at these 5 games in April, the reality is that you're probably looking at the candidates and going, well, really, it's who are the best players from the Chelsea and United games.
Yeah.
But actually, I think Nketiah is a bit of an anomaly for that, because came on against Palace, made a difference. I thought created a good chance, I believe, for Odegaard. Tried to link up. We definitely did better when he came on the pitch. Came on against Brighton, forced a good save out of Sanchez. Hit the crossbar, I think.
I believe.
Ultimately was at the heart of some of our sustained pressure. Started at Southampton. He didn't do great, nor was he the problem.
True.
But I think when you're looking at your goals coming from your striker and the balls going into the box, was he much of a presence? No. But then when Arsenal need it more than ever this season, it's kind of, you've got to get something out of this where it really feels like it's out of our hands. He goes to Stamford Bridge and, lovely, finish when he's sort of pressing. Who was it? Christensen, who loses the ball. And then he shows that hard work and sort of never say die attitude, kind of when the ball comes in the box. A little bit of skill to kind of, look after the ball when Tavares puts it into his feet. But then the rest is just finding a sort of toe to hit the target, and he does.
Yeah.
Against United, I thought looked fairly dangerous. Won a free kick, was making runs in beyond. There are a few times Odegaard was finding him in beyond. Almost the fact that he was caught offside once or twice is a good thing for me, because it means at least we're asking questions of the back 4. He wasn't brilliant against United, but he was effective. So I think Nketiah is my first shout, and ultimately for the 2 goals at Stamford Bridge and his hard work and giving us a different dimension when he's come off the bench, I think he's been very good.
Yeah, no, Eddie Nketiah was obviously we spoke about before, and I think I have to agree with that. I mean, I've liked him. I thought, he's known for being a goal poacher, but I actually seen more to his game since he's been back in his Arsenal side. His actual hold-up play does go a bit unnoticed at times. He has, against Southampton was why I went before, because again, I think that's where the performance wasn't, it dipped. But when I saw him against United, he was pinning the ball, bringing other players, also running in beyond. And I was like, oh, there was definitely more to his game. And the reason why I want to back you up with this is because the podcast he went on, he'd done that after Brighton, and he spoke so confidently. And I questioned, I was like, wow, this kid's full of confidence, believes in his ability, which is...
Was it after... Did it come out after Southampton?
No, it came out after Southampton, but he recorded it the day after the Brighton game, because they spoke about yesterday we played against Brighton. So that's the day when he filmed it. So for him to speak how he spoke, I was very... I was very surprised, but he believed in his ability, and so every player should, and he proved it. I like players that can talk and back it up, and he has. Listen, obviously there's still time left of the season, there'll be more performances, but from the back of that, I have to big him up, that podcast, and the fight he showed coming back and the goals he's taken, and yeah, big up to Eddie Nketiah. And another player that I'm going to move on to, who's also been in the media as well, speaking about, you know, how his future at Arsenal and confidence and whatnot, was Granit Xhaka, the next nominee that we want to throw in there, because he's had a good month. He's a very good month. To be honest, actually, since he's come back, people may disagree with me, since he's come back from that red card against Liverpool, I've actually been pretty happy with his performances. If I'm completely honest, I'm kind of wrapping my brains around it. Yeah, Granit Xhaka hasn't been bad for Arsenal from that time, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves in a lot of cases. I know there's a lot of people that don't rate Granit Xhaka, but listen, his goal at United was superb. His just doing what he's told from the manager and doing it to effectively. I've got to credit for him. The megs on the edge of our box and driving through the midfield. I didn't know he had that in his game. He's starting to play with confidence. Listen, Granit Xhaka, no, I'm smiling. You deserve it. Again, you went in the media, and you've also backed up in these performances. I believe that interview was a bit while before, obviously, this run of games, but still going in confident. Maybe we need some more players to keep going in the media and speaking. That's probably why Aaron Ramsdale was doing so well, because he did so many press conferences. Now it's kind of dwindling a little bit. Maybe he needs to do some more.
maybe they put some subconscious pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
Do you know, with Xhaka, I think if you're looking across the 5 games, I'm saying superb against United and Chelsea, and that's where the performances have stood out. Then the other 3 games, it's more... He was never the problem. No. But he always did what was asked, from playing left centre-back in a back 3, left back against Brighton, left back again at half-time against... And he never... His performances didn't dip, really. The problem was the system and missing him in midfield. And who thought we'd get to a point where we're all saying, you know, we need Xhaka in midfield. But I think since Arteta's come in, I think Granit Xhaka across the board has delivered mostly 7+ out of 10 in his games. The problem is that there's always that 1 or 2 red cards. And I won't shy away from saying that those red cards, they are maybe unacceptable strong, but so many of them. You know, you think at the Etihad when we're already under the cosh, we've got players missing. You think against Liverpool when you know it's already going to be tough. You think of the penalty against City he gave away. So those things obviously impact how you view his performances, but in terms of, it's very hard to, it's maybe a bit silly to say, forget those bits and actually just judge what he's doing kind of when he's got the ball, positionally, defensive work. I think he's been very, very reliable for Arteta. And I was saying the other day on a show that we used to talk about Granit Xhaka getting overrun in midfield, not having the legs to keep up with the modern pace of the Premier League. And when was the last time we said that? I mean, well over a year or 2 that I can think was the last time that I thought he looked outrun in midfield. Now, whether that's because Arteta has tactically set us up differently so that side of his game doesn't get exposed, maybe it was all a bit of a myth. Maybe we were just looking for things to kind of get, for criticism. Or maybe it's just something he has improved on his game. I don't know. For whatever reason, he looks far more controlled and composed in midfield. Looks like he's got a lot of time on the ball. And his standout performances of the season have been those games against Chelsea and United. He was great in the North London derby as well before his injury. So, this is a player that Arteta depends on. And, game by game, I see more and more why. So credit to him. He absolutely deserves a shout for Player of the Month. Definitely.
Big up Granit Xhaka. I think that one thing, though, about that interview he did, that yellow card thing, you can't overlook it. And especially because he said, it's part of my game. That is one thing that did let me down a bit from that. I'm going to be honest. I didn't like that. I think today's modern game, and that is an old mentality, and I don't think it benefits the side.
I read the other day, I think, he's never had a red card from a second yellow. And that shocked me.
Yeah, because he got a yellow.
Because I watch him get yellow cards, and I am bricking it for the rest of the game. Just like, oh my God, Granit. But he's never, and that in itself is something to weirdly compliment. because he's clearly knows how to manage himself through games on a yellow card. So
yeah, but for him,
fair play.
For him personally, bro, like you're picking up a lot of fines picking up these cards, bro. Like surely for your own,
for your own
bank, I know you for your own bank account.
He don't care.
You know what I mean? Chill
he
out.
does what he got to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, well done. Good month.
Big up Xhaka as well. So now the next one, I'm gonna let you take the next one because obviously I nominated Granit Xhaka there, and this is the third one that we discussed. Who is it for you? I'm sure many people they probably know.
Yeah, I mean, I've got only 2 appearances this month, but I've got to chuck in Elneny because they came in 2 crucial games. I thought he was very good at the bridge, and Xhaka edged it. I thought he was class against United, and he edged Xhaka on that one. What can I say? I mean, this guy. I'm not even going to do the whole because I've done it so many times. Yeah, I'm not going to do that whole thing.
Yeah, you don't have to do all that.
I'll talk about how he's filled into Thomas Partey's role.
Yeah.
And those last 2 games, we didn't miss Thomas Partey. You know, what does that say about how good Elneny's been?
Massive.
In tight situations where I thought he would just knock it back, look to rebuild, give it back to the centre-backs, turn inside where it's safe. If the pass isn't on, he's been beating a man, dropping a shoulder, going the other way and finding Martin Odegaard. Yeah. He's been looking to constantly progress us forward. And if it means carrying the ball, and if it means trying to hold it in in difficult positions and difficult spaces so that he can get the right release and get Arsenal going on the front foot. You know, he's been doing that really, really well. It helps that Odegaard and Xhaka, I think, have positioned themselves nicely around him and they give him options. But I just think he's been brilliant. He's been tenacious. He loves the slide tackle. Yeah. And I think he's had real composure on the pitch. I think where everything kind of might get a bit heated at points or maybe Arsenal need to show a degree of nerves, need to show some steel to get through difficult moments. I never look at Elneny as one who's going to fold in those situations. So massive credit to Elneny for his mentality and his quality that he's shown on the ball the last couple of games. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, that is I think the biggest compliment you gave him there was obviously Partey's been out and since Elneny's been in, no one's really questioned his performances. I think that's a huge compliment for him. He's been superb, and for me, as a fan and an ex-player, look at him, he just seems like the model professional, a senior player that actually, I know how much Arteta praises Granit Xhaka for how much of a professional he is, but I've got to give credit to Mohamed Elneny in that sense as well. He just never seems, I know he did that about don't want to talk about him not complaining and whatnot, but comes in, does his job, and he does it to a high level. Everyone criticised him for just passing it sideways and back and sideways and back. And before he was in the side, I was getting frustrated for Arsenal for doing that. When Nketiah was in there, that's what he was doing. We seemed out of ideas. There was no intent to go forward. But Mohamed Elneny's come in and he's given that. So deserves all the credit, man. He's definitely a contender for Player of the Month. That's up there. That's up there. He's up there, I think, for this month. The final one, obviously, we've both got ideas.
Yeah. Should we do a pitch each for the 4th spot?
It's annoying because your pitch is going to be strong. Go on.
They're both going on the poll. So you guys can vote for either one. We were undecided. As I did Elneny, you can pitch yours first.
Okay, listen. I'm going to pitch, and the reason why, I'm going to pitch Martin Odegaard for the 4th spot as a nominee, and you guys can decide between mine or James's. But the reason why, there's many reasons why. I've liked Odegaard for a long time. I think he's been class this month as well. The fact that, we have a leadership group. And he wasn't part of it, yet he became the captain over, obviously I know Lacazette came out the side, but there was Granit Xhaka, he was part of leadership. He could have had the captaincy armband, but no, Martin Odegaard stepped up. He's captain to the side to victory. His leads with the press, I think he's been quality. A lot of the balls he plays, we always speak about his ball retention is superb in tight areas. He keeps everything ticking. He keeps the transition smooth. And the player that you're going to mention, I think he doesn't have such a great month without Martin Odegaard in there. And I know...
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, I know your argument is going to be strong because you're going to talk about the penalties and whatnot and the pressure. But for me, Martin Odegaard deserves to be in there. He's one for the future. Even though he's doing it right now, I think he's got such a high ceiling, and going forward in this Arsenal side, he's going to be the player that everyone's going to be speaking about. Martin Odegaard for me.
I love Martin Odegaard.
And I love your nominee. Which is weird, actually.
And I know you love Bukayo Saka. But it is Saka for me because I thought against Palace, not his best game, always trying. With Brighton and Southampton, a bit like the Palace game, I don't think he had his best game. Yet I still thought if anyone was going to make something happen, it was probably going to be him. Nketiah came off the bench and had an impact in 1 or 2 of those games. Yeah, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, kind of they always try. But Saka, for me, I'm always looking at thinking, I feel like it's... In those games, I felt like it might be him. But then against Chelsea and... In fact, actually, let's just forget United for a second. Start against Chelsea playing as both a right winger, then a right back, doing 2 different positions on the pitch, depending on what Arteta needed at the time. Wins the first penalty, wins a penalty at the bridge, puts it away, nerves of steel. We win it 4-2. Against United, I thought it looked dangerous all game. I thought it looked quite dangerous against Chelsea, to be fair, but more so against United. Wins another penalty. I get what you mean. Odegaard crafts it for him. But wins another penalty, puts it away. We're 2-0 up. It's pretty much the game done. Yeah, United kind of come back in it, but 2 goal cushions nice against United before half time. And I don't know. I think it's not even been his best month in terms of performances. In fact, probably nowhere near.
Is he a victim of his own success in the sense that we have such a high level for him?
He's still always at the heart of the best stuff. And I think that's what it is with Saka is, were we really going to go to United were we ever really going to beat United and go to the bridge and win without Saka having a part to play in it? I don't think we were. So, yeah, Saka for me, but I hear you. And I will say, not to put down both Odegaard and Saka, who I think have had good moments this month for sure, but I think there's 1 or 2 standout candidates for me for Player of the Month.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, we've put our 4th place forward, but... Yeah, you let us know. Yeah,
it's down to you guys. Like I said, go ahead over to the AFTV VIP app, go and check out the poll and get your votes in. That is it for our nominees for April's Player of the Month.
So just to quickly, we've got Eddie Nketiah, Granit Xhaka, Mohamed Elneny,
and then
Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
All in the poll.
All down to you.
Link in the description.
There you go. Make sure you hit a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time, next month.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.